Welcome back, guys. I hope distance learning is going well. I wanted to make a short video to help you bring all the gas laws together, since I don't know if everyone has received information from their group. So I wanted to go through all four of the gas laws and also do an example problem for you. So let's go through all three of our gas laws. So the first one you had to investigate was Boyle's law. So in Boyle's law, temperature is constant. And so the only other two variables changing are pressure and volume. So they're mathematically related through the equation P1 V1 equals P2 V2. Now, the ones and twos simply mean initial and final conditions. So meaning that there is a change in pressure or volume, and therefore the other one is going to change as well. So whenever you're seeing the ones and twos, they're referring to initial and final conditions. So if we were going to be looking at the relationship, if you were actually going to graphically explain this, and so many of you did such a nice job on your projects explaining this, we have a graph that ends up looking like this when you compare pressure and volume. So what that means is that this is an indirect relationship, which means as one thing increases, the other decreases. So for example, we can say as there's a decrease in pressure, it's going to result in an increase in volume. So I loved how some of you in your projects tried to bring a real life scenario to help you teach your peers. So something, I know none of us are on a plane recently with current situation, but one that I love to talk about is a bag of chips on an airplane. So if you have ever brought either a bag of chips or an empty water bottle on an airplane, what ends up happening is as you go higher in elevation in the airplane, the chip expands, the volume of the gas expands, and the reasoning being is that the atmosphere is thinner higher in the air, so the pressure decreases. And since there's a decrease in pressure, the gas in the chips is allowed to expand, and so therefore you have an increase in volume. So that would be a real world example of Boyle's law. So the other law that you had to investigate was Charles' law. So Charles' law was looking at the volume and temperature variables when pressure was kept constant. So mathematically, it is relatable through V1 over T1. Again, the ones mean initial conditions and the twos are final. So we would say V1 over T1 is equivalent to V2 over T2. So if we were going to draw a mathematical relationship between volume and temperature, that graph would look something like this. So this is considered a direct relationship. So what I mean by that is as there's an increase in one variable, there is also an increase in another. So for example, if we increase the temperature of something, then the volume of that something is also going to increase. So a real world example for Charles' law would be a balloon. And if you put it in a freezer, what's going to happen? It's going to shrink. When you take it out of the freezer, it's going to expand. So you guys actually saw this during our Mole Day celebrations. We actually put this balloon into a container of dry ice, which is about, I believe, negative 78 degrees Celsius. And so when we initially saw this coming out of dry ice, it was all crumpled. And the reasoning being was that the volume decreased because the temperature decreased. But as we brought it back to room temperature, we increased the temperature, so the volume also increased. So this is a direct relationship between volume and temperature. We see this in a multitude of scenarios in our life. The third gas law that you had to investigate was the Gay-Lussac's law. So this one was looking at conditions when you had constant volume, and therefore pressure and temperature were changing. So mathematically, they're related by P1 over T1 equals P2 over T2. If we're going to look at this graphically, it ends up looking like this. Also, a direct relationship, meaning as one increases, so does another. So for example, if we have an increase in temperature, we're going to see an increase in pressure as well. So an example, a real life scenario, and I heard, I saw in your project, several of you mentioned this one, is an aerosol can in fire. So if you don't know this, you're not supposed to throw it, an aerosol can, even when it appears to be empty, in a fire, because what ends up happening is as you increase the temperature of the gas in the can, it will increase the pressure inside the can and the can will explode. And so this is another perfect example of where gas laws might be seen in a real life scenario. Now, I have some good news for you. You don't have to know each one of these gas laws. And the reasoning being is, drum roll please, we have the combined gas law. So that is exactly what it sounds like. It's a combination of Boyle's, Charles, and Gay-Lussac. So let's go back and look at those equations. So in Boyle's, we see that pressure and volume are being multiplied by each other. In Charles, we're seeing a volume in the numerator, temperature in denominator. For Gay-Lussac's, we're also seeing pressure in the numerator and temperature in the denominator. So if we look at all three of these calculations, all three of these equations, and we actually mush them together, you end up with something that looks like this. P1V1 over T1 equals P2V2 over T2. Now, this is more applicable to scenarios we're going to find. It's not common that we're going to find things being held constant. Usually as one thing changes, so do the other variables. And so what's nice is you don't have to memorize all of these gas laws. This is the only gas law that is worth memorizing, okay? Because it's a combination of all three. So I'm going to show you how you can use this one gas law to solve any gas law problem. So again, this is the only one you need to know. Let me rephrase that. It's the only equation you need to know. You should still know the relationship between pressure, volume, and temperatures as illustrated in Boyle's, Charles, and Gay-Lussac's law. So I want to show you what the combined gas law would look like in something where a condition is held constant. So I'm going to open up my web browser here to an equation that was in your last agenda. So if you go into the Charles law jigsaw activity, I will be doing number 1 out of the Charles law problem set. So let's read this together and then I'll show you how to set this up using that combined gas law equation. So we have a balloon filled with helium with a volume of 20 liters, that's a big balloon, at a pressure of 101.3 kilopascals and a temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. What would the volume of the balloon be if the temperature is increased to 80 degrees Celsius and the pressure remains constant? So let's go back and write our variables. So this is an algebraic approach. So I saw a lot of you forgetting to put your units in, even though this technically isn't dimensional analysis, it's algebraic. You could still set it up as a dimensional analysis problem. You could still, we need to see those unit conversions to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So again, this is number 1 out of the Charles law problem set. So we were given that we had a volume of 20 liters. We were given a temperature of 15 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 101.3. So keep in mind the ones represent that initial condition. We're solving for the final volume. So V2 is our final or unknown variable that we're trying to solve for. We were provided that the final temperature is 80 degrees Celsius and the pressure was held constant. So we can assume that it's the same as the initial. So 101.3 kPa. So like I told you in the beginning of this video, we don't need to memorize all the different gas laws. We can simply use the combined gas law. So let's write out that equation. We have P1V1 over T1 equals P2V2 over T2. Now here's what you're going to do. Since pressure is held constant, P1 and P2 are the same, here is what you're going to do. You are going to take your eraser and erase the pressures, or just simply cross them out. We don't need to use them. If they are held constant, they are the same, we can simply cross them out. So we're left with V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. So something I really want to stress here: whenever we're solving something algebraically, we need to rearrange the equation to make sure we have our unknown alone before plugging in numbers. This is going to make sure that you have your equation set up correctly, because once you start plugging numbers in, it gets messy. So if we were solving for V2, which is our unknown, I would need to multiply by T2 on both sides in order to get V2 alone. So what we end up with is V2 equals T2 V1 over T1. Now, just by looking at this equation, I know I rearranged it correctly because I see that I have a temperature in the numerator, a temperature in the denominator, and I have volume in the numerator. We know we're solving for volume, so our unit should end up in our numerator for volume. So we already know that we set this up correctly. I cannot stress enough the need to rearrange this before you start plugging things in. So once we have we've crossed out our things that are held constant, and we've rearranged our equation, only then can we start plugging in numbers. However, there is a few things we need to make sure of. We need to make sure all our units are consistent. So let's take a look at our temperatures. They're both in Celsius. Fantastic. However, with gas laws, they're only relatable if they are in Kelvin. So most temperatures, if they're given to you in Celsius, you're going to add that 273 in order to get it into Kelvin. So we would have to do this conversion prior to calculating. So this gives you 288 Kelvin. And if we do that for here, this gives you 353 Kelvin. So we are now in Kelvin and we can use these numbers to plug and chug. So we have V2 equals 353 Kelvin multiplied by V1, which is 20 liters. And then we are dividing it by T1, which is 288 Kelvin. So the first thing you're going to want to look at once you plug everything is those units. So since we have Kelvin in the numerator and the denominator, they cross out. If you want to set this up in a grid, I highly recommend it. Some people don't like the grid, but if you are a grid system type of person, I highly suggest doing the grid so you could see those unit cancellations. So we're left with liters in the numerator, which is where we want to be. So when we plug this all in, we end up with V2 equals 24.5 liters. So that means that our balloon has expanded from 20 liters to 24.5 liters with an increase of the temperature. So this is a perfect example. This was, keep in mind, a Charles law problem, but I used the combined gas law to solve it. You can use a combined gas law for any gas law problem. You just simply have to cross out the things that are held constant and just always make sure you rearrange to get that unknown alone. One thing I want to mention as well, for this problem, we didn't need it. But say I didn't tell you that pressure was held constant, but instead I gave you that the final pressure was 1 atmosphere.